Hello and welcome to Product Popcorn, the podcast that explores topics related to product management. Most of the time. We talk with product managers and also designers and engineers that work on product teams, and only sometimes discuss the possibility of artificial intelligence taking over the world. You can always read more at productpopcorn.com. I had some recruiting and HR questions and luckily was able to meet Emma, today's guest, who can tell us about her experience in recruiting. Emma started out her career at Tom's in LA, and now she focuses on the Denver startup scene. We're going to talk with Emma about culture. We're going to talk in-demand skills. We're going to talk cover letters and how to write them. We're going to talk about sticky situations and how to handle them. And we're going to get Emma's opinion on beer and dogs in the office. It's a super useful episode today. Side note, if you're a product manager and you're looking to learn new skills in the new year, I have a huge comprehensive list of free online classes up on my blog. I've broken down the list by skill. There's a link in the show notes. Second side note, did you know that you can follow Product Popcorn on Instagram? I post daily product management thoughts and advice, and sometimes rants. Third and final side note, I've just started a Facebook group for podcast listeners. Link also in the show notes. Okay, now let's get started with today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to Product Popcorn. I'm Kimberly and I'm a product manager.
I'm Adam and I drink whiskey.
He is drinking whiskey right now, which might be a problem on today's episode because we're talking HR.
Ooh, yeah, HR and whiskey, it's a age-old thing.
Well, I meant is it an HR problem that you're drinking whiskey?
At work.
Well, yeah, it's kind of, it's not really work.
This is a hobby.
This is more of a hobby, yeah. And we aren't really talking also full out HR. We're talking recruiting and HR. Mm-hmm. So maybe whiskey could be your quirky hobby that sells you on as a culture fit.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. But for real, Adam's a front-end developer.
I am a front-end developer.
Yeah. And we have Emma today on the podcast. We're super pumped. Emma you have an HR background, but also a background in recruiting.
Acronomicon.
Oh, God. HR, really?
Yeah.
Human resources.
Oh.
We're just going with that one. We're not going to play the game with HR.
Okay.
Emma, can you just tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah. So I have been in HR for a few years. I actually hate the word HR because I think people automatically think fun police, and it just is not the person I am or who I want to be. So I got into, I like to say, people operations a few years ago. I have only been in startups, so that has been much of my background. Starting out in LA, I worked at Tom's Shoes for 3 years.
I saw that.
Yeah, so
really cool.
I got there when they were small and hungry, and it just boomed really quick. So I learned how to wear a lot of hats, and that's what started leading me down different roads. So fast forward, I got done with LA and was looking for my next city I wanted to move to, and I knew it had to have, my only rules were I had to have one friend, the friend that will build IKEA furniture with you and take you to the airport.
Good friend.
Yeah. And I wanted to find another startup scene. I wanted to find a city that was kind of about to pop. And so randomly I came to Denver to visit one friend for a weekend, and it was
You
Denver.
never left.
No. I mean, I honestly, I thought it was going to be Portland. I thought it was going to be Chicago, a good Midwest kid. Get my Chicago time in. But
we have a lot of LA transplants here in
it
Denver.
happens, and there's a reason why. So
I know. It's awful here, though, guys. I mean, seriously, nobody should move here. It's, Adam, it's really bad for all the reasons we talk about, right?
Yeah, all the LA people are here.
No, I mean, for real, it's the best place on earth. So today we are going to talk so many things. It is a new year. We're not recording this in the new year, but we're going to release it in the new year. So it is a new year. Many of you may be looking to switch jobs or amp up your career, make some career changes. So we're going to talk recruiting stuff. We're also going to talk culture. We're going to talk in-demand skills. We're going to talk sticky situations and how to handle them. Emma doesn't know that yet, but we're doing it. We're also going to get Emma's opinion on beer in the office. She also doesn't know that yet, but it's going to be really fun.
What about whiskey in the office? Is that too much?
Well, beer and whiskey are kind of in the same genre of items, so we can change the question to whiskey in the office.
No, I love all these topics, and I will say I am not an expert. I don't think anyone is ever an expert. So, but I love all these conversation topics. So.
Luckily, Adam and I are super experts.
Yeah.
About HR violations. Because yes.
But before we get into it, Adam, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Survive the nuclear apocalypse that is going to be happening, right?
That sounds really depressing. Do you have any other more optimistic resolutions?
Yeah. No.
All right, that's good.
I don't.
For anybody that is looking to pick up some new skills for the new year or looking for some resolutions, I do have 2 new blog posts up. One is a huge, massive, comprehensive list of free online classes for product managers. So if you're looking to pick up a new skill, check it out on productpopcorn.com. And I also have one that's 5 super simple New Year's resolutions for product people, really simple stuff. So if you're like Adam and you don't have anything in your resolution pocket,
self-driving flying car nano degree.
I actually might take a nano degree this year.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about it. I might do the intro to programming one. I don't know. We'll see.
I just want to get to Dubai again. That was so fun.
In that self-flying taxi.
One time.
Yeah, that was really fun to hear about. All right, just a quick warm-up question. As I was driving today, I was in Wyoming. I was driving home from Wyoming, and I was thinking, hey, it's really interesting to think about how do recruiters find a new job? Are there recruiters that focus on recruiting? Recruiters only?
Who recruits the recruiters?
Who recruits the recruiters?
Everyone. How do they do it? Okay, so, it's like any other job. It's all about who you know. Every single person probably will go on to their next job because a friend went to that company or because somebody they used to work with went to that company.
Yep.
And especially in Denver, my biggest advice I ever tell people, do not burn bridges. Mm-hmm. Everyone is connected in such small and weird ways. And especially if you're in the tech space, you're going to cross paths, for sure.
Even if that bridge is really deserving of a good burning.
Yeah.
Imagine it's a steel bridge and that it can't burn. Even if you put effort into burning it, you shouldn't.
I just imagine myself standing on the bridge and be like, that's just a bad idea to light this on fire.
I like that. It's a good visual.
Yeah.
That's excellent advice, Adam.
Thank
All right. Game. We have a quick game. We have 2 games, but I'm going to break it up. We're going to do this quick game. Then we're going to go and talk about some real stuff that's important. And then at the end of the podcast, you have to keep listening because we're going to play another game called Sticky Situations, in which I took sticky situations from the internet, and Emma is going to talk about how to deal with them in the right manner. Awesome. Okay, so this is just super quick. What's your opinion, yay or nay, of these 5 to 6 things?
Okay.
Beer in the office.
Yay.
Yay? Okay,
yeah, definitely.
Got it. Whiskey in the office?
Yay.
Okay, yay as well. Sweet.
Heroin in the office.
No. I knew you were
awkward.
Go there. Yeah. Nay. I'm just going to say nay for
That's
Emma.
Sad.
T-shirts and jeans to work as opposed to biz cash.
Oh, man. Okay, anyone that knows me, they'll definitely... I gotta say nay. Depending what you're doing during the day. This is the thing. It's I hear from so many managers that that younger, hires are getting a little more loose with when they come to work, what they're wearing. And it's such an awkward conversation to have with somebody, especially when people come back from the gym and they don't change. It's present yourself. I have a friend who calls it unkept beds. She's like, they just look like unmade beds when they roll out, come to work, and then they're giving presentations in front of possible customers, people, their boss, the leadership team. And it's just kind of funny how we're getting so relaxed with how we present ourselves. And again, it's going back to that, you're going to have to get another job someday. So do you want to be remembered as always looking an unmade bed, or do you want to step up on those days and really put yourself together? I also came from a father who was very he was funny. Like, he was a smart kid, but like he would always say you want to wear your smart outfits like on test days, and like so that always stayed in my head too. Like, you feel better when you like feel like you look like awesome, or you feel put together. Granted, yeah, t-shirts and jeans are awesome, but like if you've got a big presentation or a big customer day, like put on that little extra. You know,
your nice jeans.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that like for the life of like a developer or startup. Or, you want them to be as efficient as possible. And if they feel like they're comfortable and they're more relaxed, then they will naturally be more efficient. But I do agree with the fact that if you are customer facing, you should not wear sandals.
Absolutely. If you're customer facing, I would feel so uncomfortable as an unmade bed. I would just like to say I make my bed every morning religiously. Unkempt bed is not for me.
Yeah, and again, like all pro, like definitely during the day, and you should be comfortable, and you should work at a place where you can be comfortable and not having to put on a fake look. But still, I mean, like it's getting real loose in some offices, especially summer. Like, oh man,
I like to roll in a Snuggie. And that's Snuggie and Crocs.
Snuggie and Crocs, the new outfit for 2018 wardrobe goals. 3. Freelancing while you have a full-time job.
What's the freelancing?
Like, I'm a JavaScript developer and I'm freelancing JavaScript development work.
I have no problem with it. Like, the best engineers or anyone I saw in the business, it's like if they were staying fresh, like they were doing different projects because they kept learning, they kept networking, and they were awesome hires. But, I mean, freelancing at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, probably not. Like, your boss probably thinks you're doing something for the company. But, weekends, after hours, like, that is your time.
All right, one more. Bringing dogs to the office.
Another really heated question, depending where you work. Again, like, it just depends on... I think they're great for morale, but also it's like, how much of a distraction level are they? Because, like, I think that's what you've got to ask yourself. And, if you're bringing your dog to work and, like, let's say they're, jumping on everybody, it's like, just watch your dog. I mean, because we had a horror story where there was a dog that would come in and he would just, like, run laps all day around our office. And he would go drink out of the water cooler. And guess what? Like, everyone used that water cooler.
Ew.
So, ew. I mean, it's just things like that. It's just like, if you're going to bring your dog in, like, be responsible for what your dog is doing. So...
What if I want to bring my red panda?
Oh, yeah, you get a pass.
Okay, cool.
A lot of people like those.
Just with like a red ball, and it's just in the corner playing with a red ball, maybe in some fake snow.
Have you seen the video where there's like a red panda in like the gymnastics rings?
Oh, yes.
And he's lifting himself up.
No.
And
it is. I will put a link in the show notes. Oh. It's the cute. Oh my God, if you're having a bad day, just.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into what we're really talking about. So I know you have a background in recruiting. Mm-hmm. I know you say you're not an expert, but you're way more of an expert than Adam and I. Probably on just most things. So I have some questions, and I'm going to warn everybody listening that it's kind of a hodgepodge of questions, but these are things that I've been wondering for a while, and I've wanted to ask for a while. So we're just going to launch into it. Okay. In-demand skills right now. Like, can you give us an idea of, like, the landscape? I know you work in the Denver market, but in general, like, what are, like, kind of the hottest in-demand skills that recruiters are looking for or that tech companies are looking for?
So I think this really depends on the company. And like what I've seen, especially in Denver over the last couple of years, is a lot of people are going to coding schools and thinking they're going to get hired at any company they want to get hired at. But like you really need to understand, one, that company's org chart. Like what are they going to be hiring for? Two, what products and languages they use. Like we had a big problem at Craftsy where all these people are graduating, but none of them were in Java, and that's all anybody was using. So they would get frustrated that all these people who just got code degrees weren't getting hired. So it completely depends on the company. And I say that to a lot of people while they're in these training schools. Like if you have companies that you're like really shooting for, like understand the org chart, understand the languages, and really focus on that during the time. But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, you want to hire people who are just ready to learn anything. So, I mean, the best engineers I meet are self-taught or always staying on edge because it's technology. It's going to change overnight. Like, don't bank on this one thing that's going to be the thing that will you'll use forever. But I also will say role-wise, product is really hot. Like I hear a lot of recruiters like saying that's a huge struggle. And then the hot role right now is data scientist.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
which is really gray. Like, what do you want that role to do?
I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, I just recently saw a poll on some unnamed website, not BuzzFeed, that's for sure, on like the jobs with most satisfaction, and number one was data scientists.
Well, I think it's because like data scientists can work wherever they want because they're so in demand, and I think that they can do a lot of different things. Like, you know, data scientists at my job are working with language, they're working with, you know, big data, but I think like data scientists can pretty much do anything they want, like any type of product, you know, that you're working on, TV, insurance, like finance, anything. Like they need data scientists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that they're really well paid.
They are.
So,
because it's the hot job right now.
Yeah.
And again,
So-
I mean, it was product. It was UX a couple years ago. UX was huge, and then
Really?
everybody went into that. And then but I would say data scientist is the hot job right now.
So if you could tell product people, like product managers, to like improve one or two skills, like what is there anything that you would recommend that they like? Do you look for product people with technical backgrounds? Do you look for product people with like, you know, just I don't know, resumes that show that they've shipped really big products? Like is
so thinking of all the product people I know, which is not a huge amount of people, but the most successful product people I know are one, people who came from some customer support background, like having that empathy and having that understanding, especially if you're working for an e-commerce company, it's going to be huge because a lot of your engineers and developers have never been in those roles or want to be in those roles. So having the empathy of what is the problem that we're trying to solve is probably going to help your customers. I think that's a huge like skill that person can have, especially when they're going back and forth between marketing and your engineers, because they have to speak two languages. It's like, guys listen to me and you guys listen to me, but both of you guys don't listen to each other. I also think learning to code, like it's just becoming pretty much every role. If you work at a tech company, you need to understand code. It's getting closer and closer to that. But I mean, those are the people who are the most successful, like because the engineers really respect them because they can speak their language.
Yeah.
So, like knowing how long it's going to take you to do something.
The level of
like,
effort.
I think that's the other thing too, where somebody can just throw a project out there and then they're like, oh, that'll be like a 2-day thing, right? And the engineer's like, no, it's like a 2-week thing, like at least.
Duh.
Like, but I think that's like, those are the areas where people really kill it in their job if they can do those things.
So, as far as like working with recruiters, if I'm like a product manager and I'm looking to kind of maybe explore my options, it's a new year, one of my goals is to kind of move up or move on. How should I start working with a recruiter? Like, do I just look for them on LinkedIn and reach out? Should I look for somebody to intro me to a recruiter? Like,
Or wait, you're looking for a new job or you're looking to stay at your company?
I'm looking for a new job, so I'm looking for a recruiter to help. This is not my situation, just to clarify for people I work with. But if I'm looking to move jobs and like I need a recruiter to help me with that.
Yeah. Okay, first thing first, you don't need a recruiter, you need LinkedIn. I always tell people like start with LinkedIn. Like look up the title you want. Like look up other people who have your title. Like see what they're listing, because that's a really quick way for you to compare apples to apples or oranges, apples to oranges. Like if there are things that like these people at the level that you want next have listed and you're not doing, probably a good sign that you're maybe not ready for that next step, or that needs to be your outline to get you ready for the next step. So I think that's your first step. And then go to your people, like go to people you respect in your network that you do not need the recruiter. You need people to talk you up in their companies or give you advice, because again, Denver's really small, or just maybe if you want to say in the tech space, it's small, and people will talk to people. As soon as you start saying like, hey, this is what I want to get towards, like people will set you up with the right people if you're a solid person.
You can do what I do and just accept every single LinkedIn connection with a recruiter that you get, because I get a couple a week, and I feel like I've got like I don't have a ton of connections, but I mean I've got like a couple hundred, but like I feel like 95% of those are like recruiters.
So here's another question. So so let's say I'm like Adam and I'm accepting 2 to 3 new recruiter connections on LinkedIn every week. A, are people from like my company going to notice that? And B, is it okay to just like let's say I'm not looking, but a recruiter reaches out to me and I just kind of am curious. Like, is it cool to talk to them? Am I wasting their time?
Yeah. First off, you can hide all of your action and what you do on LinkedIn, so definitely do that. Oh man, back in the day, like I would see engineers like making friends with like 10 people a day, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I'm like, you can't leave. But
we know where your family lives.
Yeah, I mean, like that's everything too. It's like if you have like in-house recruiters or people team members, it's like they're following you. They want to make sure you're happy. So, but wait. Backing up, what was the second question?
Is it okay to like talk to a recruiter about a position, even if you're not really necessarily looking, but you're just like, well, I'm kind of curious, you know?
Yeah, I had a manager that said like you should always be or like if people reach out, have the conversations, like because sometimes the grass is always greener. Like I think a lot of people will start interviewing, they're like, whoa, I actually like really like where I am, or this isn't what I think I want to do, or that company isn't exactly the ideal company I really want to be at, or they're not working with the same problems I want to solve. Like, I think it really helps, like, kind of take away that grass is greener, like, feeling for a lot of people. And two, just, again, building that network. Like, that was another really good piece of advice that somebody gave me once. Like, you need a team. Like, you don't need, like, your buddies in the office. Yeah. Like, you need people who are going to be advocates or connect you. And if one of those people is a connection that is a recruiter, like, find a recruiter you really like and, yeah, get to know them, especially if they have a good network of people. Like, if they like you, they will share. Like, I have a group of recruiters it's probably about 5 or 6 people in the startup space. And if we find good people, but we can't hire them, guess what? I send them to all of those people. And then your name's in 6 other company buckets. And I mean, that's just how things work. And so definitely have conversations. I will say this. So in-house recruiters, the agency recruiters, agency recruiters, they could be connected to so many companies. I mean, we have Code in Denver, and they work with pretty much every startup. Yeah. So if you get a connection to them, guess what? They'll keep you in the hat for a lot of other companies. But an in-house recruiter, like, they're hiring you to come work with them. Sure. Like, they know the people that they want to introduce you to. They know it's like they want you to be a desk across the way from them. Not, I'm just going to fill you and see you later. Like, and I think that's the big difference. Like, I always tell people, I'm like, if you get in-house like messages, like those are the people you want to be connected with because they're probably going to be there for a while. And like that would be a person you want to reach back out to.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
So let's say I either like apply for a job online or through like a recruiter reached out to me, whatever the situation is. What's a surefire way to get your resume looked over or passed up? Any like avoid tips?
Double check. A lot of people will not state the title correctly. So that means you're probably copy and pasting and sending the same resumes and cover letters to every single, job post you see. Not following the directions. Like, let's say, like, a job posting is, like, include your cover letter, resume, and answer these 2 questions. Like, people will skip those things. And so if you're not following the directions from applying to this job, why do we think you're going to follow the directions when we hire you? So those are quick ways to get overlooked.
Why do we need a cover letter?
I read every cover letter.
Really?
Especially, this is the big thing. Again, depending on what company you're applying to, but if you're applying to a startup that's small,
sure,
and like,
of course,
they're passionate. Like, they want to hear how much you want this job.
How long should the cover letter be?
A page. And even your resume, get it down to a page. I mean, like, to say keep under a page, but like
if I write a paragraph like, "Hey, super pumped about Craftsy.
Yeah,
I like knitting, and have a dog, and I want to work there because I like your platform." And this is that enough? Like, just these are
my cover letter tips. It's like, 1, don't repeat what's ever on your resume. It's your chance to show other knowledge about yourself. It's a chance to show what you researched about them and what you thought was cool. It's your chance to take the job description and be like, I know you're trying to hire a person with this. I can do that for you. Like, sell yourself. Like, that is what the cover letter is. It's your chance to, like, be like, I'm awesome for these reasons, and this is why you need to call me, like, and get me in the door. Like, not, I'm really interested in this position. Sounds like great. Thanks, bye. It's
like you're interested. That's
it's like, use it to your advantage, and it just, you don't have to put a lot into it, but just, like, read the job description, read something about the company, and just start writing about that.
Should I include, like, personal attributes in there? Like,
I leave your personal things out. Like, I cannot tell you how many conversations, especially in Denver, where you get on interviews, and they're like, oh, my boyfriend's moving, or...
Well, not that kind of personal stuff, but like, I'm super high energy, or like
that's
along well
fine.
with engineers.
Especially an engineering role, like show including like other projects you work on or things you follow or like why you think the company is a great place to be. Like that's just what people want to read. And I include cover letters with every interviewer, just so they can get like more information on that candidate. Because again, a lot of resumes can be pretty blah. So like add some spice, and that is your chance. Yeah.
And like, how do you get your resume to a page? How?
Oh, I use that job description as your outline. If they're looking for things, like bullet out, like I can do that. Because like recruiters, like I will go through with highlights on like candidates. If your resume is highlighted a lot more than other ones, you look like my best candidate. And it's really easy for me to be like, look, like they're checking off all of these things on our job description. Like,
okay.
So I always say, like, use the job description and, like, show that you're checking things off the list.
Okay.
Interesting. How do you feel about, like, I noticed that there's, like, LinkedIn has a thing where it's, like, you can use your LinkedIn as a resume, in which technically it is your resume.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And LinkedIn, you don't usually have a long page, and so I interviewed dozens of people when I worked at Health Grades, and if your resume was like 5+ pages long, I just wasn't gonna read. I wasn't gonna read it.
Nope.
And so I respected if it was like clean and it was like one to 2 pages and that was it. Like 2 pages is like,
you're done.
Yeah.
Like you're really done. Like don't.
Mine's like 2 pages typically.
Two's okay. I mean, it's definitely depending how like tenure you are as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've only been out for a couple of years or have had 2 jobs, like
one page.
like you not need to be going over that. But yeah, I mean, the more senior you get, like it will happen. But do not go over 2 pages because no one's reading it.
Yeah.
And that's a problem with like our society now. We have to keep. Like I always think about that when we're doing job descriptions. Like most people are looking on their phone. Like how many swipes are they gonna do? Like, most people have got 2 in them, and that's it. And then they're moving on. Like, our, like, patience and attention span is just really slim. So, yeah.
Adam just dropped a whiskey cap. No worries.
That's what that was.
I mean, Emma said it's cool to have whiskey in the office. So, we're just,
Yeah, no HR violations here.
Okay, so I guess you kind of touched on this with the last question, but any tips for like resume must-dos? So we have to have a cover letter.
Yeah.
It's got to be spicy and not repeat what's in our resume.
Yeah.
It's not more than a page. Our resume ideally is a page, maybe 2 pages if you're tenured.
Keep the F-bomb under 5 usages of the F-bomb.
That would get some attention for sure.
Eye-catching.
I really, really appreciate when people, one, make their name and their phone number really easy at the top of the page. And then also putting your LinkedIn is the biggest thing you can do because everyone's going to go look for your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And especially if you have a similar name, it's going to be hard to find you. Or if you have a hidden profile, it's going to be even harder for like hiring managers who don't have the recruiter account to find you.
Yeah.
So don't make that difficult. And then if you have like websites, like put that at the top of the page too, because that's going to give you brownie points. And yes, most people are probably going to go to those things first, but at the same time, like that's what you want to show off, and you're going to give a lot more information.
Right.
What about my address? Do I need?
No.
Okay. I can save that space.
There's no reason to put your address. Like I don't know why. I mean, was that just because they used to mail you? Like, we're interested to talk to you. Like, I don't know why anyone needs to know where anyone lives.
It's kind of, like, concerning, actually, to give that out.
Well, and especially in Denver, too, because, like, we're such a transplant city. Like, people get that people are moving here. Like, and, like, so I don't think you need to include that.
For a developer, I mean, there's, like, there's an episode of Silicon Valley where Guilfoyle, like, puts that he's looking for new jobs and he gets, like, all these presents. And so if you want that as a developer, I can kind of see putting your address. You're like, send bribes here.
Oh yeah, I remember
that was a great episode.
It was
because
he's getting like the edible arrangements.
No address, definitely not. Also, a tiny pet peeve of mine is when people send Word docs. Make it a PDF.
Yes, I hate Word docs.
One, because some people don't have Word on their computer. Like, especially if they're a Google company, like, they're using Drive. And so, like, they can't open up your Word doc, or it's formatted funky. Or
how do you feel about people sending you a link to an online resume? Because, like, I know, I mean,
I'm trying, if somebody,
I am not looking for a job, but when I just had it up on my website and just, like, download PDF, right?
Yeah, that's fine. But probably when you're, like, a lot of, like, these applicant tracking systems that a lot of companies use, like, it'll get uploaded, so they won't have to click on a link.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I really have to do that.
I like to stand out, so I mail people a stone tablet.
Yeah. Is it under 2 pages?
It is under 2 tablets.
That's great. I mean, nobody's going to lose it unless it's on purpose.
Yeah. And then they gotta really, because you can't just put that, I mean, it seems weird to put that in the trash. You're just like, what do I actually do with this?
It's true.
Referrals. I think that I know the answer to this, but I just want to confirm with you. Like, having a referral at a company is, like, key, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely to get you in the door. I mean, I go back and forth, like, referrals, like, when you're interviewing. Like, because you're going to give me the best people that love you and know you and are going to say amazing things. So, like, why waste my time talking to all these people who already love you?
Yeah.
I do think it's smart if you can get a manager. But, again, like, the most recent manager, you're probably not going to get to talk to because they don't want you to know they're interviewing.
Yeah.
So, again, you're, like, taking out whatever current job they're in and deleting that and then going back however many years they've not been working at their current company. So referrals get kind of spacey. But, yeah, I mean, again, like, it's all about who you know to get you in. And that's how most people get jobs.
This next question is a big one. And there's a lot of kind of chatter on the internet about this, and especially in some of the tech Facebook groups that I'm in. Culture fit. What the hell does that mean? And do you think some companies use, like, the culture fit to just, like, weed out people that they just don't like or that are, like, maybe women or...
Like, you're exceptionally suited for this job, but you're a douchebag.
Well,
so
that would be...
you.
Okay, I get that. But, like, some people think, you know, they're using it to weed out, like, maybe minority groups that they don't necessarily want there. Like, they don't...
Because they're racist?
Yeah, they're racist or they're sexist. I don't know. I mean, you work for a lot of startups, so this is maybe really relevant because culture is a big deal. Like, what does that mean?
This is one of my soapbox questions. Like, I really like digging with people on this one. Because one, I get asked every single time I do a phone screen, it's going to be 1 out of 3 questions. Like, what's the culture like?
Yeah, sure.
And then my response is define culture.
Yeah.
Like, because I just think the word culture has gotten so skewed. Like, it's now become, like, basically, depending on who it is on the phone, but if they're asking about culture, they're probably like, so do I get lunch? Is there beer?
Yeah.
What's the game situation?
It's
Can I bring my
ambiguous.
dog? Like, but that's what I know what they're going for. Like, and then for me, I'm like, culture, I'm like, I just want to know, like, how do you guys get shit done? How transparent are you guys with your information? Like, how do people work together? Like, that's the culture I want to work for. I don't care what beer you have on tap. But a lot of people, I think that is where they're going with.
They just want to know if they can play foosball and, like, drink beer.
If you say that you have Bud Light on tap, and I'm like, not a culture fit.
But I think that's where people, like, are kind of going for. They're like, how much fun am I going to have at work? Not what am I going to learn and get shit done? And then I do. This is the other thing too. Like, I used to think like the beer test, like, could you go out and have a beer with this person is like the way you should judge interviews. Oh my gosh, no. Like,
I don't even drink beer. I can't. So
yeah, no. But I hate when that
question for me.
I hate when that gets thrown around because I'm like, you want to hire somebody that's better at you at things, that thinks differently than you do, that brings like experience that your team needs. I mean, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You're not looking like, can you go have a drink with me? It's like, can I sit next to you and are you going to be there when, you know, site's crashing at, 1 a.m? Like,
no, they're going to be drinking beer.
Yeah. I mean,
with the HR person.
But like, that's the culture fit you're looking for. You're not, I mean, again, like, yes, you do want to bring on somebody that like is going to get along with everybody. But at the same time, like, we've got to be thinking diversity in a lot of different ways and not just, what skin or what sex we are. So, yeah. So totally hopefully that's not how culture gets blended in. But yeah. Define culture first when anybody asks that, or have them define it for you.
So what's the culture like at Shutterstock, Adam?
Beer.
Okay, here's a question that I think everybody has thought about at least once in their life. If I've applied for a job and I'm super interested in that job, how often do I check in? Is it so annoying?
Okay, no.
Does it show interest?
So glad you bring this up because, again, look at the company. If it is a company and one, they don't even have a recruiter, an HR person on staff, guess what? They are really not going to get back to you right away. And you're just going to keep filling in their inbox with emails, and it's going to really drive them nuts. And if they have one recruiter, and there's like 10 roles open, think about it that way too. Like they're in communication with a lot of people, and don't get frustrated with not getting returns back. Sometimes people post jobs and they're like, we'll let the applicants build up over a couple weeks and then we'll start reviewing. Some people review that day. It just depends on who's working there and how they're going through applications.
Is it safe to say if they want you to work there or are interested in you as a candidate, they will not lose your number?
They will reach out. And no, I mean, I keep people, I have a Google Doc that I keep people I've talked to that I had good conversations with. It just wasn't the right time, or we didn't have the right role, or we maybe went with the A person and not the B person, you know? I mean, but you keep people in your mind of who stands out for sure.
Are you honest with people if they check in and you filled the role or you didn't choose them for some reason?
Yeah. So this is another thing. I do my best to make sure if you apply, you get an answer. Again, things happen, technology happens. You may get lost. So a lot of recruiters have an ATS system, so they probably think they send emails to everybody. And I'll usually always say, sorry, we filled the role, but thanks for your interest. But I don't know, maybe it goes to your spam folder and you didn't get it. Sometimes stuff just happens. Yeah. But I will always try to be as I love giving candidates also the exact this is how your interview will work. You will talk to me, you will talk to someone else, and then if you come in, you will meet with
these
4 more people, and that will be the last step of the process. Because I think that's another thing that drives people nuts. It's how
processes get so long nowadays. It's nuts.
It's like dating. Recruiting is just like dating. You're putting yourself out there, you're waiting for them to like you or not like you. It's you have a phone call, you're I thought it went really well, but I haven't heard from them in a couple days. I mean, it's all the same feelings, and
so true.
It's hard to control that, but it's also you just gotta have patience and have that understanding of there's a lot of moving pieces, especially if you're going for a startup and they're waiting for fundraising. They may not be able to hire you yet or give you the salary you want, or if maybe they're working for a hiring manager who's out of town for the next 2 weeks, and so things get put on hold and they're trying to keep people in the same processes. You just have no idea how much detail goes into hiring, and you're not the only one. That's the other thing you've got to keep in mind. So
respect their time.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's your time, just like dating. It's your time, but just be patient.
We're going into game number 2. It is called Sticky Situations. Ew. I didn't tell Adam. I'm gonna put in a cool animal noise. Yeah, you like the horse. You really want me to bring a horse back?
That was an elephant.
Oh. I'll use the elephant.
I have
a new
both.
one.
Okay, no, you should get inventive. Use a crow. Be like, ah!
Oh, that's a good one. Sticky situations. I didn't tell Emma about this beforehand. I'm sorry, Emma. Number 1, the renege. Okay, so.
The look that you gave after that title.
Was it very serious?
Yeah.
So, I have a job offer in hand. It's a good job offer.
Yeah.
And then a week before I'm supposed to start, bam, 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 Google comes through and they offer me my dream job. And come on, it's Google. How did I not accept the offer from Google? Is it okay to renege? And are you really destroying your reputation if you do so?
This is my opinion. You got to go where you want to go. No one wants to hire somebody that's going to be not excited to work there. So if that is what you're really excited about, go for Google and be very apologetic and be classy about how you turn down that offer or whatever the situation may be. Thank everyone that you met with and that they were giving you that opportunity. I mean, you can take it a next step. Thank you goes so far these days because it's so seldom used. But yeah, nobody wants to hire somebody that's lukewarm. They want to hire somebody that's really excited and looking forward to working there, because we all know how many hours we can spend at a job, and especially the people you hire, you're hoping they're going to make you better. So
2. This one's tough. I was discussing this today. The sexist or other inappropriate interview question. Let me explain. Okay, you're in an interview and they ask you if you have kids because the position, quote, isn't appropriate for a mother. Or something similar to this.
What?
This actually happened. It was in a Facebook group today. I don't know. They didn't disclose the company.
Those
but
people need to update their HR.
They asked in like 3 different ways if she had any kids, and she just kept like trying to dodge the question. And then they were finally like, look, this position isn't like suitable for a mother, so we need to know if you have kids. And she like walked out of the interview, of course. But like, how do you? So I was reading this to my husband, and he's like, well, then you sue them and blah blah blah. I'm like, but that's not really what happens in the real world. Like, you can't prove that they asked that in an interview. It's a he said, she said type of situation, unless you like, I don't know, have it on video or something. Which why would you?
Oh, creepy.
B, you know, like you don't want to work for that company, but you know what? Like, how do you deal with that? Do you tell the recruiter? Like, do you, like, report them to somewhere? Like, how do you deal?
Yeah, I've never had anything like that come back. I do interview training. So something that we developed at my current company, previous company, everybody that's going to meet with candidates, like, we walk them through, like, these are things you do not talk about. And it's crazy. Like, you'll think, like, oh, we're just talking about our kids. It's like, no, like, you're stating that you know they have kids. Or you're, like, stating, like, well, when do you go pick them up? Or what do you do? Like, it's a gray area you need to get out. Like, I mean, that's what I tell everybody. Even, like, talking about their height or anything that brings attention into their physical appearance. Like, things that you think are, like, oh, we're just, like, shooting it. It's like, no, like, get out. Stop talking. Like, focus on the job and focus on those questions. And like, I really, really try to train our team. Like, I have a long list of like, these are everything that can get you in hot water.
So would you say that the appropriate action then is to not necessarily publicly go out and say like on Glassdoor, this is what happened, but maybe contact their HR?
Yeah, no public shaming.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. Bring it up to the recruiter. Like, let them know that's like what came up. But like, do not go. Like, Glassdoor is it's a double-edged sword. Like, it's a really great. I always tell people, like, use a grain of salt when you're reading it. Like, you definitely can get a good vibe. But like, think about it. The people that go on there are not happy people.
Next, gap in the resume. So if you have like a gap in your resume, do you need to explain it in detail, or just like keep the explanation short and sweet, like I took some time off? Like, I'm thinking of people with like, and this is going back to stuff that I've just read online lately, like one person had like kind of a bout of like mental illness issues and took 6 months off. You know, if you just had a baby, if you, I don't know, were laid off, and obviously that would come up, but then didn't find anything for a while. For all those reasons that you could have a 6 to a year to year and a half month gap in your resume, how much information are you looking for explanation?
Be ready to explain it, for sure. I mean, like, it's probably going to come up at some point, especially if you haven't been working for 2 years. It's like, are you hiding a job? Like, I mean, we're already going to be thinking, like, what's up? I mean, I think it can be awesome. If people are like, I took a sabbatical and I finally lived out my dream to, like, go to this country and learn this and learn that. Like, that's cool. If it's something personal, like, you do not need to tell them that. Like, just keep it kosher and just be like, it was just a time for me to take a break. I was in a good spot to support myself during that break, and I took time. Like, just keep it short and sweet.
That's a good.
I took time.
Put it.
Yeah.
It was a good time for me to take personal, maybe not say time so much.
Take a break.
Yeah.
It's like I was able to, especially like some of these companies that, like, you know, we got money, and it put me in a spot to support myself for a year and think about what I want to do next. Like, that's another way too. It's like, it gave me time to think about what I want to do next, and that's why I want to work here. You know, like, you're thinking it out, you're prepared, you're ready to like get back in it. You know, like, it's a good way to like kind of sell yourself. But man, keep it short and sweet, and do not get here's all my drama stories.
You don't want to know about my medical issues?
No, I really don't.
That's fair. Okay, last one. The ghosting recruiter. So let's say you've scheduled a call with a recruiter about a position, let's say twice, and you've like, you know, you need to make adjustments to your work schedule to be able to talk to them and then they just aren't calling you.
Does that happen a lot?
Shame on that recruiter. I think it does.
Shame on that recruiter.
Do you just like forget that recruiter? I mean, do you reach out?
Yeah, as representing the recruiters, I hope that never happens to you. I mean, sometimes shit happens, you know, like they might get stuck in a meeting, or they are HR, like something might pull them in. But like, email them, be like, I'm not sure if we're still on, like, still interested to talk, and that person should reschedule with you for sure. But yeah, if you don't,
if it continues to happen, maybe just
I mean, it's just not the place you want to be.
Yeah,
like if they're not coming after you and back to the dating, if they're not showing you interest, like. You should move on.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much, Emma, for being on the podcast.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you.
Great. I'll have a lot of links in the show notes. Everything that we mentioned on the podcast will be in the show notes. And hopefully some good advice for those looking to make a career move this year. Not Adam or myself.
Nope.
But others.
We're not.
Adam, any final words?
I could say something stupid, but I think that I'm not going to do that.
Good.
Finally, God. I think that you should just be genuine in your interview, and if they don't find that you're a fit and you feel like you were genuine, then you shouldn't worry about it. And I think that it sounds so cheesy to say be yourself. But that's who you're selling is yourself, and if you try to be something else, or if you try to pitch yourself higher, or you pitch yourself lower than you are, then you're gonna have problems. Not if you pitch yourself lower, but I mean, anyway, people don't usually do that.
Different set of problems.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just like dating, be genuine.
Yeah.
Also, it's like, the patience and timing. Like, just because you think this is your dream job, it might not be your dream job, and it'll happen when it happens.
Yeah, your dream job is a job that wants you to.
Yeah.
Just like dating.
Just like dating, I know.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Check out the show notes for all the links, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to Product Popcorn. You can subscribe to the podcast or leave a review on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. You can always read more at productpopcorn.com or follow us on Twitter at Product Popcorn.